Now, I got into this because some Christian leaders wanted to have a conference on AI, and they wanted it introduced from someone who knew something about the teaching of the image of God in Genesis, and who had a scientific background and who could perhaps begin to lead them in to what was going on in the AI field around. And once I got into it, I realized this is a seriously important thing, because we haven't got to artificial general intelligence yet. That's still a pipe dream, but it's improving all the time. But we've got far enough. That is to what's called narrow AGI, which most of the stuff that works is. And that is posing a threat to human beings at all kinds of levels. And I began to see that that was seriously important for everybody to take on board. So I wrote 2 books, one in 2020 called 2084 is the title of my book, Artificial Intelligence and the Future of Humanity. And then the publishers asked me to update it in 2024. So there's a second edition, twice as big. And it is my main work on AI. That is not. That is work on the Book of Revelation with reference to AI. The other is directly going into AI, pointing out its values, which I think are immense, particularly in medicine, but pointing out its dangers, which I think are immense, for bringing about a state in the world that none of us, I think, want.
So let me just give some definitions then.
Yes, sure.
You use the term narrow AI.
Yes.
My definition of that is, and I'll put something on the screen for those of you watching, is AI that's focused on solving a very particular problem. So AIs that might be able to diagnose lung cancer, or that do some sort of biometric data on your Apple Watch, very focused on solving a particular problem. AGI is artificial general intelligence, which is what's being built at the moment, and all the big AI companies are in a race to accomplish, which is a machine that could do any intellectual task a human can, faster than any human, and would be super intelligent. So, you know, maybe one way to think about it, it would have a PhD in everything.
That's right. That's a very fair summary. Narrow AI system does one and only one thing that normally requires human intelligence. AGI does the lot and more.
You wrote this book, 2084. You highlighted in there some of the concerns that you think are being overlooked in this race for AGI at the moment.
Well, they're not overlooked by everybody.